Okay, hey there, everyone. I hope that you're doing well. It is the start of week two. We had a little bit of a longer weekend because of the Martin Luther King Day holiday. So I hope that you had a good day on and that you enjoyed some time to rest, relax, reflect on Martin Luther King, and and then gear up for the work that we have today and the work that we have through this week. So let's jump into what we have in module two. Now, remember, my goal is to try to make a short overview video for each module, taking maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes of your time, just to make sure that you have a really good idea of what it is you're supposed to do this week, especially related to our graded assignments, right? So let's jump in quickly and see what we can see. So here we go. Let's jump to our class. Um, so in this space, module two, the big topic is this question: is poetry dead? I mentioned this a little bit in week one, that this was a discussion post. So we have some three different takes on this question here. Um, and this is a lot of your reading for this week. So this reading you'll be able to accomplish really in, 20, 30 minutes, even with rereading some things. So it'll be really quick for you to understand the general arguments delivered by these people. Now, of course, reread what you find interesting or what you want to go over again to make sure you understand the arguments here, because that will help you in this discussion. So we had our first discussion last week. You already have seen some grades there. I've added some comments for your discussion. Remember, you have your initial post, and then you have posts to two peers, and that's how you earn your points. And you want to always work to add more rather than less, right? More information, more engagement, more sincere engagement is always going to be better than less. Though, of course, you don't want to just write for writing's sake. Still make sure that if you want to add an extra sentence or two, still make sure that extra sentence or two is meaningful. Don't just, add it to add it. Okay, with that said, you can see here that we have some links to those previous readings if you missed them. And then you have some questions to respond to. And you want to go through and respond to these questions in complete sentences, really give your thought here and connect your ideas to the article. And then provide your own thoughts. So I can see here that Kaylee's already added some things, which is great. And as you add your own thoughts, which are due by the end of the day tomorrow, I'm recording this on Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon. I just finished a noon meeting, and then your replies are due before you fall asleep on Friday. All right, so don't forget to add here. That's some of your graded work today. And then I'm introducing you to three different contemporary poets: Rupi Kaur, Amanda Gorman, and Mary Oliver. Three very different poets, three very famous poets in their own ways. So you'll get to read through some of these poets, learn about them, read some of examples of their poetry and some comments about them. And then we have this reader response related to these poets. So let's look at that really quickly. The reader responses are, some of our most important pieces of writing we do in our classes. So I really want you to take these reader responses seriously. This is some of the real poetry, investigatory, and considerable thought piece of writing that we want to accomplish. We want to really investigate these poets, really think about them critically, and then try to write about them. So you're, in this case, looking to compare and contrast these three poets. And this is where the bulk of your time will be spent this week in our course. If we were meeting face to face, right, we would meet for 6 hours over the course of the week, and that would include lecture and writing time. And so the bulk of your 6 hours of work this week will be spent in investigating these three poets, thinking about them, and writing about them, and writing your own thoughts and words about them, but being mindful of using MLA or APA citation to cite your work. If you're using information from from a website, you've got to make sure that you cite that appropriately. And you're not just copying and pasting work. You're certainly not using AI to try to do this, because there are AI detections in place here, and you want to avoid the use of AI to do your homework anyways, as The point of becoming a college-educated individual is not figuring out how to skirt some of the learning that you need to do in order to truly be able to engage with another adult and discuss these poets or poetry in general, creative writing in an intelligible and intelligent way. The only way to get that is through your own work. So just remember that. Don't shortchange yourself. Respect yourself as much as you need to respect the class. So all of that said, I don't want to end that on a somewhat negative note, but I want you to just take this seriously. I'm just trying to emphasize that this is serious. This is the serious investigatory work we want to do as some, literary scholars in this case of understanding what poetry is and how poetry is working today. And we can see some things in these three poets that we can see that they're similar in some ways and they're different in other ways. And I'm curious what you'll write here. So there's that. Those are our main writing assignments this week. And then we have a quick quiz related to the popularity of poetry due at the end of the week, actually on the 27th, which is at the end of the day on Monday. So let me know if you have any questions this week. The big topic, I think, is a really fun one, and I'm curious to see what you'll say about it. For me, my perspective is that poetry is not dead because people still write it. We have classes around it, so it's clearly not dead, but it's certainly not super popular, right? There are poets who, as you'll read, struggle to sell 200, 300, 400 copies of their book. And these are named poets. These are people in anthologies that are in classes like this. And they struggle to sell, not even 1,000 copies of their books. Whereas a fiction writer, will easily sell 10, 20, 100, 1,000 times more copies than a poet will. And so fiction, nonfiction, much, much more popular as a literary medium for consumption in the public sphere. And so that consumption piece is really important. So poetry is only dead in so much as it is dead through a type of market lens of, oh, well, people aren't buying this, therefore it is not alive. But if you look at it from a humanistic lens of we write poetry to express ourselves, we write poetry to learn more about others' expressions of their selves, um, to learn more about the world, to engage with the world and with writing in more unique ways and more figurative ways compared to prose sometimes, or maybe most times. And that's where poetry is, in my view, truly alive. So I'm curious to see what you think, what your thoughts are about poetry, and I'll end this video here. Thanks so much for your work this week. I'm going to try to get this uploaded to YouTube. So I think, in my announcement, I said that it was available earlier. It's not going to be available for a little bit just because of YouTube uploading time, but we'll get there. So thanks so much for your work. I look forward to seeing what you write, and let me know if you have any questions this week. Take good care.